Sure, you all have seen Mystic Umbreon's video, Best Team for Kanto. The point of this video was to give you the best chances of beating the game. But let's say you want a challenge and you want to use the worst Pokemon for Kanto. Then look no further because this is your video. Now, these Pokemon will be determined by the matchups they have against the gyms, Elite Fours, your rival, Team Rocket, and any other important battles. Also, before we start, make sure to sub. Now on to the video.
But if you close your eyes,
okay, so for all teams, you need to choose your starter. Now, the best starter for Kanto, as you all know, is Bulbasaur, but the worst is actually Charmander, the one that everybody chooses. So why is this Pokemon bad? Well, it struggles against the first two gyms, goes even with the third, is good against the fourth gym, fifth gym, and sixth gym, and it can't do anything against the last two. Now, for the Elite Four, it is alright against Lorelei, Agatha, and it's pretty decent against Bruno. But it is absolutely screwed over by Lance. Since Team Rocket has used a lot of poison types, it is not the best option, but it can be used if necessary. But for a moveset, I would suggest the following: Flamethrower, Swords Dance, Earthquake, Hyper Beam, and or Body Slam. So overall, Charizard is just the worst starter because the two starters actually are way better than it in terms of matchups. Now, the next member for worst team for Kanto is once again a Pokemon that everybody tends to use. This Pokemon is known as Pidgeot. Now, before you destroy me in the comment sections, let me explain. So, even though this Pokemon can be attained fairly early, it is really bad. This Pokemon can really only learn normal type moves. That means if you're facing a ghost or a rock type, you are kind of over. Also, it only gets a few legit stab moves, being Fly, which is actually base 70 power in Gen 1, Double Edge, really good, and Wing Attack, base 60. Poor Pidgeot, at least it gets a Mega in Gen 6. But for a moveset, here is my personal suggestion: Double Edge, Fly, Wing Attack. Now for the last one, you can either use Mirror Move or you can use Double Team. Your choice. Now, what would be a worse team for Generation 1 without the worst Pokemon from Generation 1? This Pokemon is known as Beedrill. Now, this power was originally going to go to Butterfree, but at least it gets, Stun Spore, Sleep Powder, the other powder move, and it gets moves like Psybeam, so it's not the worst. Now, Beedrill is a completely different story. The best move this Pokemon gets is Pin Missile. Now, this Pokemon gets no good moves, as you could clearly see, best move being Pin Missile. It has an absolutely terrible typing, and more importantly, it has just terrible stats. So this Pokemon is straight up garbage, but if you want a actually pretty decent moveset, here would be my suggestion: Agility for the speed, Swords Dance to get some attack boost up, Substitute to avoid taking damage, and last but not least, Hyper Beam, because in Gen 1, if you score a kill with Hyper Beam, you don't have to recharge. Now, the next member for worst team for Kanto is Parasect. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm using way too many bug types, but just hear me out on Parasect. First, it just has a bad typing, being weak to Fire, Ice, Rock, Bug, and even more moves. Okay, so besides this terrible typing of Grass and Bug, there are some other serious issues for this Pokemon. The biggest flaw is this Pokemon's moves. The most unique move it gets is Spore, but besides that, the strongest attacking move it gets is Slash. Now, I know what you're thinking. Slash was stupid good in Gen 1 because high crit chance, crits are based on speed, you're critting everywhere, but Parasect had a base 30 speed. But if you want a moveset, here's my personal suggestion. I suggest using Spore, Dig, Swords Dance, and Slash. This might actually be a really good team. Now, the next member on our worst team for Kanto is the Pokemon Omastar, or as I like to call him, the Lord Helix. But before this Pokemon became an elite Pokegod, it had to overcome some challenges. Seriously though, this Pokemon just might be the best member on our worst team. Take that as a compliment if you will. Okay, so the reason this Pokemon is bad is because of its typing. It's weak to grass, electric, ground, fighting, and even more types. It actually has a decent stat line, but unfortunately, this Pokemon only has a subpar moveset. Speaking of movesets, I will give almost the following moves. Surf, because we always need a Surfer on the team. Ice Beam for them grass types. Hydro Pump for more damage. And Submission for, I don't know, rock types. Yeah, don't ask me. Now, the last member for this team is literally game breaking. This Pokemon is known as Missing No. Now, before you click off the video, this Pokemon is actually really bad. Well, let's look at why it's bad. First, it can't take a hit for its life. It has a base 0 defense stat, which is actually really funny. It is even slower than Parasect. For moves, I think it only gets Sky Tech, but let's be real. Compared to Beedrill's moveset, that moveset is freaking fantastic. Now, remember when I said this Pokemon was game breaking? Well, if you view its description or stats or whatever, it will actually corrupt your save file. And at that very moment, you have realized two things. You have messed up, and your struggles of dealing with this worst team will be over. But to be honest, if you are actually able to make it to Cinnabar with this team, I would be extremely impressed. Okay guys, that's the video. Make sure to subscribe and comment your opinions, and also comment if you want to see worst team for the rest of the generations. Also, if you didn't pick it up, well, we're using red and blue, not the remakes. But most importantly guys, just have a good day.